Welcome to Skip Your Queue, the podcast that tells the stories behind the world's best attractions and the amazing people that work in them. In today's episode, I'm at the AVEA 2025 conference in Waterford, Ireland, and we're talking about gift shop best practices with Jennifer Kennedy from JK Consulting, a tourism and retail consultancy, and Jennifer led retail at Guinness Storehouse for more years than she would care to mention, I think.
12.
And we're also here with Michael Dolan, MD of Shamrock Gift Company, who has brought along the most amazing array of gift shop merchandise, which I'm sure we'll get into talking a little something about later on. And I've also got an amazing live audience. Say hello, everybody.
Hello.
There we go. So, we always start with an icebreaker that I don't prepare the two of you for. And now this is probably a very unfair question for the pair of you, actually. What's the quirkiest souvenir you've ever bought? I can think of those little, the ones that you get in Spain of the little pooping Santas.
I have a thing for Christmas decorations
Oh,
when I
really?
go and travel. So for me, there always tends to be something around having a little decoration on my tree every year. That if I've had one or two holidays or I've been away, that I have some little thing that comes back that ends up on the tree at Christmas. I have a lovely little lemon from Amalfi. That's a Christmas decoration. And so, so little kind of quirky things like that.
Michael, what about you?
One of our designers, who will remain nameless, has a thing about poo. So everyone brings her back some poo-related gift.
And sadly, there's quite a lot of that
There
around
is,
at the
actually.
moment, isn't there? That's a bit disappointing, but there we go. First question then, what's the point of a gift shop? If I put that in a more eloquent way, why are gift shops such an important part of the attraction mix?
Okay, well, from my point of view, the gift shop in an attraction or a destination is the ultimate touch point that the brand has to leave a lasting memory when visitors go away. So for me, they're intrinsically important in the complete 360 of how your brand shows up as a destination or an attraction. And without a really good gift shop and really good product to take away from it, you're letting your brand down. And it's an integral piece that people can share. From a marketing point of view, every piece of your own product that's been developed, that's taken away to any part of the world, can sit in someone's kitchen. It can be in multiple forms. It can be a fridge magnet. It could be a tea towel. It could be anything. But it's a connection to your brand and the home that they visited when they chose to be wherever they're visiting. So for me, I'm very passionate about the fact that your gift shop should be as good as everything else your experience has to offer. So that's my view on it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's neglected when people are creating a new visitor attraction.
Yeah.
They don't put enough time into the retail element. I think that's changing, and a very good example of that would be Game of Thrones in Banbridge. We worked with them for 2 years developing the range, but also the shop. So the shop reflects I actually think the shop's nearly the best part of the whole experience. But the shop reflects the actual whole experience. So
The theming.
The theming.
Yeah.
So you have banners throughout the shop, the music, the lighting, it looks like a dungeon.
Yeah.
All this display stands have swords in them, reflecting the theme of the Game of Thrones.
It's a good example of how a brand like that has incorporated the full essence and theme of why they exist into their physical retail space.
Yeah.
They definitely loosened a few pounds out of my pocket.
Another good example is Titanic Belfast. So they spent 18 million on that visitor attraction, which was opened in 2012, but they forgot about the shop.
Okay.
So the architect who designed the building designed the shop.
Yeah.
That looked like something out of the Tate Gallery.
Yeah.
And we went and said, this shop is not functional. It won't work for our type of product. And they said, we don't have anything in the budget to redevelop the shop. So we paid a Dublin architect to redesign the shop. So the shop you have today, that design was paid for by Shamrock Gift Company. And if you've been in the shop, it's all brass, wood, ropes.
Yep.
So it's an integral part of the overall experience.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you can miss the shop on the way out.
Yeah, it is very easy to walk out the building and not engage in the shop itself. It's a bit like a dessert for a meal, isn't it? The meal's not complete if you've not had a dessert. And I think the gift shop experience is a little bit like that. The trip to the experience isn't finished if you haven't exited through the gift shop.
But it's the lasting memories that people bring back to the office in New York, put the mug on the table to remind people that when they're in Belfast or Dublin to go to, Storehouse or Titanic. So those lasting impressions are indelibly, set.
So, we've already said the positioning of the shop then is super important, how it feels, but product is super important, isn't it? What product you fill into the shop is a make or break experience. How do you go about curating the right product?
The most important is authenticity. It has to be relevant to the visitor attraction. So it's not a question of just banging out a few key rings and magnets. So I brought you along some samples here. So we're doing 2 new ranges, one for Titanic and one for the Royal Yacht Britannia, and they're totally different.
Yes.
But reflect the personality of each attraction.
Absolutely.
I mean, a good example, we worked together or collaborated together on many, many projects in Guinness, but we also worked in St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Yeah.
You were the consultant.
Yeah. So I suppose, again, from the product point of view, if you can root product in why the experience exists. So in that example, a cathedral is a great example of how you can create really great product by utilising, well, the main reason people are there is because this amazing building exists and the historic elements of it. So I suppose to make it real, some examples of products that connected with the audience in that environment are things like a little stone coaster, but the stone coaster is a replica of the floor you're standing on. So I suppose the other balance in attractions is realistic price points and realistic products. So there's no point in curating a range of products that's outside the price point of what your visitors are prepared to pay. So it's that fine balance of creating product that connects with them, which is, I'm using the cathedral as an example because you've got architraves, you've got stained glass windows, you've got stunning tiles. So all the elements of the fabric of that building can be utilised to create really beautiful product. But castles, cathedrals, all of those sort of spaces, when we start talking about product, always we go to, why are we here? And also the storytelling element. There's some beautiful stories that I can give you another really great example of a product that was created for another cathedral, which was, so in cathedral spaces, there's all these stunning doors that run the whole way through. Like, they're spectacular. They're like pieces of art in their own right. And every one of them has a very unique, ornate key that unlocks each door.
Oh, really?
So one of the products that I did with one of the cathedrals was we wanted to create a ring of brass keys with replicas of all the keys in the cathedral of the doors. But as we were progressing, we forgot, at the start, it was like we forgot to tell them to scale them down so they weren't the same size as all the keys in the cathedral. But so it was a very intrinsically specific gift to this particular cathedral. And it's been used ever since as kind of the special gift they give to people who come to visit from all over the world.
Yeah.
And they get quite emotional about this particular gift because it's like, this is the actual replica of all the keys to all the doors in the cathedral. So it's a product that's completely born and can never be replicated anywhere else, and is completely unique to that particular space. And I think that's the power of, for me, that's what authenticity feels and looks like in these environments. It has to be connected to the fabric of why you exist.
Yeah, so I was at Big Pit in Wales 6 months ago, I think it was. Museums Wales are redeveloping all of their gift shops, and they are going through exactly that process that you're talking about bringing it back to the place itself, because I think it's 6 of their museums, the gift shops had much the same set of product. They described it as you were just walking into a generic Welsh gift shop with the dressed lady
and
in the
it's
Welsh.
hard. It really takes an awful lot of work. Like, it doesn't just happen. Like, you really have to put a lot of thought and planning into what our product should and could look like. And then when you've aligned on with the team of people managing and running these businesses that this is the direction you want to take, then it's the operational element of it. It's about sourcing and MOQs and price and all of that stuff that comes into it, minimum order quantities.
That's where we come in. So, we would have met Jennifer in St. Patrick's, and we would have met Liz then, we met the Dean. So we really sat around and talked about what were the most important elements in the cathedral that we wanted to celebrate in product. And St. Patrick obviously was the obvious number one element.
Man.
Then they have a harp stained glass window.
Okay.
And then they have a shamrock version of that as well. So they were the three elements that we hit on. But, you know, it took a year to put those three ranges together.
Wow.
So we would have started out with our concept drawings, which we presented to the team in St. Patrick's. They would have approved them. Then we would have talked to them about the size of the range and what products we were looking at. So then we would have done the artwork for those separate ranges, brought them back in to get them approved, go to sampling, bring the samples back in, then sit down and talk about pricing, minimum order quantities, delivery times. So the sample, you know, so that all goes out to order, and then it arrives in about 4 or 5 months later into our warehouse. So we carry all the risk. We design everything, we source it, make sure that it's safely made, all the tests are confirmed that the products are in conformity with all EU legislation. It'll be warehoused in our warehouse, and then it's called off on a weekly basis.
Okay.
So we do everything. So a one-stop shop.
The traction isn't even sitting on stock that they've invested in.
We know what we're doing, and we're quite happy to carry the risk.
Wow.
Yeah.
So one of the things we were talking about just before we started the episode was the challenges of sourcing locally. Mm-hmm. It's really important, isn't it? But it can be challenging to do that.
It can, and you know, but I would say in recent years there's a lot more creators and makers have come to the fore after COVID. So in kind of more specifically kind of artisan kind of product types. So things like candles are a great example, where you know now you can find great candle makers all over Ireland with, you know, small minimum quantity requirements, and also they can bespoke or tailor it to your brand. So if you're a museum, or if you're whatever the nature of your brand is, a national stud or whatever, you can have a small batch made, which lets you have something that has provenance, and here it's Irish made, it's Irish owned, and then there's some, you know, it gives you an opportunity. Unfortunately, we're never going to be in a position where we can source everything we want in Ireland. It just isn't realistic, and commercially it's not really 100%, it's not viable. No. So as much as you can, you should try and connect with the makers and creators that there are available, and see if small batches are available, and they're beautiful to have within your gift store, but they also have to be the balance of other commercial products that will have to be sourced outside of Ireland, will also have to play a significant role as well.
Yeah. And I think they need to be a good price point as well. Like, you know, we find that in our museum that, you know, if something is above 25 euro, the customer has to kind of really think about purchasing it, where if it's 20 euro or under, you know, it's
more of an impulse item.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
And so when it's over that price point, that's when you need to be sourcing locally.
It's a harder sell.
Yeah,
you know,
it is.
You're kind of maybe explaining a bit more to them and trying to get them to purchase it. You know, they have to think about it.
But it's also good for the storytelling element as well, because it helps you engage. So I've often found as well that even train the teams and the customer service, it's actually a lovely space to have to be able to use it as part of storytelling, that we have this locally made, or it's made in Cork or wherever it's coming from, that it's Irish made.
We have we've kind of got scarves and that, and we have local we had candles a few years ago actually, and I think they were made or up the country, whatever. But anyway, it was Reginald's Tower, and there were different kind of candles of different attractions around, and they really
made sense. They connected with your audience.
Yeah.
So 20% of our turnover would be food, and all that is made in Ireland. Virtually all of that is sourced locally here in Ireland. Okay. And that's a very important part of our overall product portfolio, and growing as well.
Yeah. Is it important to serve different audiences and with the right product? So I'm thinking making sure that there's pocket money items in there for kids, because often when they come to a museum or attraction, it's their first time they ever get to spend their own money on a transaction. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be their first memory of shopping. So giving them what they need, but at the same time having that 25 euro and over price point to have a real set piece item is...
I would say that's very specific to the brand.
Really?
Yeah, because some brands can't actually sell products, or shouldn't be selling products to children if they're...
Really?
Yeah.
I'm looking at the Guinness items at the end of the table.
Yeah, so it depends on the brand. So obviously in many of the destinations around Ireland, some of them are quite heavily family orientated.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely in those environments where you've got gardens, playgrounds or theme parks, absolutely. You have to have that range of product that's very much tailored to young families and children. In other environments, not necessarily, but you still need to have a range that appeals to the masses. Because you will have visitors from all walks of life and with all perspectives. So it's more about having something, I'm going to keep bringing it back to, is specific to why this brand is here. And if you can create product within a fair price point, and Máirín is absolutely right, the balance of how much your products cost to the consumer will make or break how your retail performs. And in most destinations, what you're actually aiming to do is basket size. You want them to go away with 3, 4, 5 products from you, not necessarily one. Because if you think about why that's more beneficial for the brand, I mean, most people are buying for gifting purposes. They're bringing things back to multiple people. So if I'm able to pick up a nice candle and it's €8 or €10, well, I might buy 3 of them if it's a beautiful candle in a nice package. Whereas if I went in and the only option available to me was a €35 candle, I probably might buy that, but I'm only buying one product.
Yeah.
And I'm only giving that to either myself or one other person. Whereas if you can create a range that's a good price, but it's also appealing and very connected to why they came to visit you in the first place, then that's a much more powerful, for the brand point of view, that's a much more powerful purchasing option to have a basket size that's growing.
We worked together in the National Stud in Kildare.
Irish National Stud, yeah.
So we did a great kids range of stationery, which worked really well.
Yeah.
We've just done a new range for the GA Museum, all stationery related, because they get a lot of kids. Again, we would have collaborated on that.
And actually, the National Stud's is a really nice example as well, because from even a textile point of view, you can lean into equine so you can do beautiful products with ponies and horses, and you know. So again, some brands make it it's easy to see the path that you can take with product. And then others are you have to think harder. It's a little bit more challenging. So and particularly for cultural and heritage sites, then that really has to be grounded in what are the collections, what is on offer in these sites, in these museums, in these heritage sites, and really start to unravel the stories that you can turn into product.
But the product isn't enough, is it?
Absolutely not.
Set making, merchandising, storytelling, they all engage the customer, don't they?
100%.
Where have you seen that being done well in Ireland?
Get a store is the preeminent example, I would think. I mean, it's a stunning shop. Have you met Catherine Toolan?
No, not yet. Lovely to meet you, Catherine.
Catherine is in charge of getting the stores.
Okay. Any other examples that aren't maybe sat at the table?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones is a really good example, and Titanic.
I think Titanic's good. The new shop in Trinity College is very strong, I think, as well. Yeah. So it's a temporary digital exhibition while they're revamping the library. They've done an excellent job in creating a wonderful new shop, even on a temporary basis. You know?
I would say Croke Park as well. The GAA museum there has undergone a full refurbishment, and it's very tailored towards their audience. So they're it's high volume, very specific and the look and feel is very much in keeping with the nature of the reason why people go to Croke Park. I would say the Irish National Stud as well, and Kyle Abbey, Cliffs of Moher. We've got some really great offers all over the island of Ireland. Yeah,
absolutely. I was at W5 recently in Belfast, and I think that's a brilliant example of what a science centre gift shop could be like, because oftentimes there will be the kind of generic stuff that you'll see in any attraction, a notebook, the rubber and a pencil, but they also had lots of science-led toys and engineering-led toys.
STEM.
So they had a big Lego section. It was like going into a proper toy shop. It was just a really impressive gift shop that you could imagine engaging a kid.
And if I could come in there for an example outside of Ireland, you've got the House of Lego in Billund. I don't know if anybody has been there, but they've got a customised range which is only available.
Really?
Yes, and it's so special. They've got a really unique building, so the Lego set is in the shape of the building. They've got their original duck, but the retail store in that space, it's very geared towards children, as Lego is, but also imagination play. So they've done a brilliant job on looking at, the the texture of their product, the colour of their product. And whilst it's hugely geared to children, it's also geared to adult lovers of Lego. So it's beautiful. Huge tech as well. They have incredible RFID wristbands, which you get from your ticket at the beginning of the experience. So all of your photo ops and everything you can download from the RFID wristband. So very cool.
Actually, I would say it's probably from a tech point of view, one of the best attractions I've been to in recent years. Like, it's phenomenal. I remember going there the year it opened first because I was fascinated. I have two boys who are absolute Lego nuts. And we went to the home of Lego in Billund when it opened that year. And I just was blown away. I had never experienced, and I go to experiences everywhere, but I've never, from a tech point of view and a brand engagement piece with the nature, the type of product that they deliver. For me, I tell everyone to go to Billund.
Really?
Yeah, everyone.
We've got such amazing jobs, haven't we? That
Yeah,
we get to go
we're very
visit these
lucky.
places. However, as you're both talking, I'm thinking, you're a bit like me. You don't get to go and enjoy the experience for the experience's own sake because you're looking at what everybody's doing.
Yeah. But can I actually just add to that? There was another one in Swarovski Crystal in Austria.
Really?
That is phenomenal. And in terms of their retail space, it's like, now I like a bit of sparkle, so I'm not going to lie. It was like walking into heaven, and the retail offering there is world class in that store. And the whole brand experience from start to finish, which is what you're always trying to achieve. It's the full 360 of full immersion. You're literally standing inside a giant crystal. It's like being in a dream.
Right.
A crystal, sparkly dream from start to finish. And then every year they partner and collaborate with whoever, designers, musicians, whoever's iconic or, very present in that year or whatever. And they do these wonderful collaborations and partnerships with artists, designers, you name it.
And what they've also...
Sorry, Catherine, there you go.
Thank you very much. It's on my list of places to go, but I do know the team there, and what they're also doing is looking at the premiumization. So they close their retail store for, high net worth individuals to come in and buy unique and special pieces. So, they use their core experience for the daytime, and we all talk about the challenges. I know, Tom, you talk about this, how do you scale up visitor experience when you're at capacity and still make sure you have a brilliant net promoter score and that the experience for the customer is fantastic. So that is about sweating the asset. And, it's that good, better, best.
Yes.
They have something for everybody, but they have that halo effect as well.
Yeah.
So it's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm a bit of a geek. I love a bit of technology. What do you think technology is doing to the gift shop experience? Are there new technologies that are coming along that are going to fundamentally change the way the gift shop experience works?
I think that's rooted in the overall experience. So I don't think it's a separate piece. I think there's loads of things out there now where you can, virtual mirrors have been around for years and all these other really interesting, the whole gamification piece, if you're in an amazing experience and you're getting prompts and things we've an offer today. But so that's been around for quite some time. I'm not sure that it's been fully utilised yet across the board, and especially I would say there's a way to go in how it influences the stores in Ireland in attractions at the moment. There'll be only a handful who I'd say are using technology. Mainly digital screens is what I'm experiencing and seeing generally. And then if there is a big attraction, some sort of prompts throughout that and how you're communicating digitally through the whole experience to get people back into the retail spaces.
Yeah, I can imagine using tech to be able to prompt somebody at the quiet times of the gift shop.
Yeah. Also, Guinness now, you can order a pint glass with your own message on it in advance. It's ready for you when you finish your tour.
Oh, really?
You go to a locker and you just open the locker and you walk out with your glass.
Could I just say, though, that you just don't open a locker? Like, it's actually, the lockers are... there's a lot of customization to the lockers because the idea came from the original parcel motel. So the locker is actually, you key in a code, and then when you open the customized locker, there's a Guinness quote inside it, and your personalised glass is inside it. And the amount of customers and guests that we get to say, could we lock the door again? We want to actually open it and have the whole experience. So, that's where I think in, and one of the questions that would be really interesting to talk about is, what about self-scanning and, the idea of checkouts that are not having the human connection? Is that a thing that will work when you've got real experiences? I don't know. But we know that the personalisation of the engraved glasses and how we've custom designed the lockers, not to just be a set of lockers, has made that difference. So they're very unique, they're colourful, they're very Guinnessified. And of course, the little personal quote that you get when you open the locker from our archives make that a retail experience that's elevated.
Wow.
But I would also say, to your point on that the real magic is also in the people in the destinations, because it's not like gift shops and destinations and experiences, they're not like high street, and they shouldn't be. It should be a very different experience that people are having when they've paid to come and participate with you in your destination. So I actually think technology will inevitably plays a role, and it's a support, and it will create lovely quirks and unusual little elements throughout the years.
Personalisation
And personalisation, absolutely.
Great.
But the actual, I would be quite against the idea of automating checkout and payouts in gift shops in destinations, because for me, that takes away the whole essence of the final touch point. Is actually whoever's talked to you when you did that transaction, and whoever said goodbye or asked how your experience was, or did you enjoy yourself. So those, you can't replace that without a human personal touch. So for me, that's intrinsically important, that it has to be retained, that the personal touch is always there for the goodbye.
I'm very happy that you brought up the human touch. Yeah. I'm a photo company. I do pictures. And all the time when we're talking to operators, they're like, can we make it self-serve? Can we get rid of the staffing costs? Yeah. I'm like, I'm a photographer. Photographers take pictures of people. Yeah. We need each other to engage, react, and put the groups together. Yeah. Right? No, we don't want the staff costs. But I'm like, it's not about the staff costs. It's about the customer's experience. Yeah. So all day long, our challenge is more so in the UK now, because we operate in the UK, and everybody over there is we don't want the staff. And I think if you lose the staff engagement, especially taking a picture, you lose the memory and you lose the moment. Yeah. And photographers have a really good job to do, a very interesting job, is where to capture people together. Yeah. And if you lose that person touch point of getting the togetherness, you just have people touching the screen, and they might as well be on their phone. Yeah.
And the photo won't look as good, will it? Anybody could take a photo, but it takes a photographer to make people look like they're engaged and happy and in the moment.
Yeah, exactly. And a couple of other points that you mentioned, talking about the brand, personalisation, gamification, all that kind of cool, juicy stuff, all the retail stuff, people going home with the memory, the moment, all that stuff's cool. But nobody mentioned photos until Cashin, you mentioned photos. We've had a long conversation with photos for a long time, and we'll probably be still chatting for another long time as well. But it's photography is a super retail revenue stream. But it's not about the revenue, it's about the moment and the magic.
Yeah, you're capturing the magic.
You're capturing it. And fair enough in that, what you guys do at Shamrock is very interesting, because you talk to the operators, you kind of go, what gifts are going to work for your visitors? And you turn that into a product. And that's exactly what we do with photo experiences. Like, we go, right, we take pictures, but what's your demographic saying? What's your price points? Yeah. What's your brand? What's your message? And let's turn that into a personalised souvenir, put the people in the brand, and let them take it home and engage with it.
So, I think one of the important things is, how do you blend the gift shop with the rest of the experience? You gave a good example of exiting through the gift shop is a really important thing, isn't it? And if you place it in the wrong place, you don't get that. How do you blend the gift shop into the experience?
Well, I would say I wouldn't call it a blend. For me, the retail element of the brand should be a wow. Like, it should be as invaluable, as important as everything has to do. So my perspective would be, get eyes on your retail offering sooner rather than later. Not necessarily that they will participate there and then, but the visual and the impact it has on seeing wow, this looks like an amazing space, this looks like with all these products, but it's also, I was always chasing the wow. I want people to go, wow, this looks amazing. Because to me, that's when you've engaged someone, that they're not leaving until they've gotten in there. So it is important that people can potentially move through it at the end, and it depends on the building, it depends on the structure, a lot of these things are taken out of your hands.
Yeah.
You've got to work with what you've got,
Yeah.
but you have to work with what you've got, not just to blend it, to make it stand out as exceptional, because that's actually where the magic really starts. And it doesn't matter on what brand that is, the aim should always be that your retail offering is exceptional from every touch point. And it shouldn't be obvious that we've spent millions in creating this wonderful experience and now you're being shoehorned into the poor relation that was forgotten a little bit and now has 10 years later looks a bit ramshackle, and we're trying to figure out why we don't get what we should out of it.
It has to be an integral part of the whole
and I
experience.
think for new experiences that are in planning stages, where it's like I'm seeing that more and more in recent years. Now where I was being called to retro fix or rip out things, going this isn't working. I'm like, okay, well we have to retro do this. Now when people are doing new builds or new investments into new spaces, I'm getting those calls at the planning stages where it's like, we've allocated this amount of space to retail. Do you think that's enough? And I don't think I've ever said yes, ever. Like at every single turn, I'm like, no, it's not enough. And what's your anticipated footfall? And all that's, the numbers start to play a role in it. But it's not just about that, it's about the future-proofing. It's like, what happens in 5 years, 10 years, 15? Because I've been very lucky to work in buildings where it's not easy to figure out where you're going to go next. And particularly heritage sites and cultural heritage, like I can't go in and knock a hole in the crypt in Christchurch Cathedral, but I need a bigger retail space there.
Yeah.
So the earlier you start to put retail as a central commercial revenue stream in your business, the more eyes you have from the get-go, the more likely it is that it will be successful. Not now, not in 5 years, not in 10 years, but that you're building blocks for this, what can become, like it should be one of your strongest revenue streams after ticket sales, because that's what it can become. But you have to go at it as, this is going to be amazing.
I think it's important that it's not a hard sell and that's in your face. And, that's where when you think about the consumer journey, we always think about the behavioural signs of the beginning, the middle and the end. Yeah. And people remember three things. There's lots of other touch points. But if retail is a really hard sell throughout the experience, I don't think the net promoter score of your overall experience will, come out, especially if you're, and we're not a children destination. We're an over 25 adult destination at the Guinness Storehouse and at our alcohol brand homes. But what's really important is that it's authentic and it's really good and it's highly merchandised and that it's unique. I think that uniqueness, is it something that you can get that you can't get anywhere else? Absolutely. How do you actually, one of the things that we would have done if we had it again we would be able to make our retail store available to the domestic audience, to the public, without buying a ticket. So, you've got that opportunity if your brand is the right brand that you can have walk-in off the high street, for example.
Of course,
so, there's so many other things that you can think about, because that's an extension of your revenue opportunity where you don't have to come in to do the whole experience. And that is a way to connect the domestic audience, absolutely. Which is something I know a lot of the members of the association, the AVEA, are trying to do. How do we engage and connect and get repeat visits, and retail is a big opportunity to do that, especially at gifting season.
Fully agree.
Sustainability is increasingly important to the narrative of the whole retail experience, isn't it? How do you make sure that we're not going about just selling plastic tat that nobody's going to look after?
We've made this a core value for Shamrock Gift Company. So we've engaged with a company called Clearstream Solutions, same company that Guinness Storehouse have worked with. So it's a long-term partnership. So they've measured our carbon footprint from 2019 to 2023. So we've set ourselves the ambitious target of being carbon neutral by 2030.
Wow.
So just some of the elements that we've engaged in that. So we put 700 solar panels on our roof as of last summer. All our deliveries in Dublin are done with electric vans, which we've recently purchased.
Oh, wow.
All the lights in the building now are LED and motion censored as well. All the cars are electric or that we've purchased recently, and we've got rid of our gas boiler. So we've also now our shipments from China, we're looking at biodiesel.
Right.
So that's fully sustainable. And we also, where we can't use biodiesel, we're doing carbon offsetting as well.
So a lot of work being done in terms of the cost of CO2 of the transport that you're doing. What about the product itself? How do you make sure that the product itself is inherently something that people are going to treasure and is not a throwaway item?
We're using more sustainable materials, so a lot more stone, a lot more wood.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Also, it begins with great design.
Yeah.
So, you know, and obviously working with our retail partners, make sure that the goods are very well designed, very well manufactured. So we're working with some wonderful, well, best-in-class manufacturers around the world.
Absolutely.
I think as well, if you can, and it's becoming easier to do, if you can collaborate with some creators and makers that are actually within your location. So within Ireland, there's a lot more of that happening, which means your sourcing is closer to home, but you also have this other economy that's like the underbelly of the craft and makers market in Ireland, which is fabulous, which needs to be brought to the fore. So collaborations with brands can also form a very integral and part of product development that's close to home and connected to people who are here, who are actually creating product in Ireland.
This is just instinct, not knowledge at all, but I would imagine that when you're dealing with those local crafters and makers, that they are inherently more sustainable because they're creating things local to you. It's not just the distance that's travelled of the item.
Absolutely, but in any instances that I'm aware of, that I've been involved with anyway, even the materials and their mythology is all grounded in sustainability, and which is fabulous to see. Like there's more and more coming all the time.
We've got rid of 3 million bags a year. Key rings mags used to be individually bagged, and now there are 12 key rings in a bag that's biodegradable. That alone is 2 million bags.
It's amazing, isn't it, when you look at something as innocuous as the bag itself that it's packaged in before it's shipped out. You can engineer out of the supply chain quite a lot of unnecessary packaging.
And likewise then for the retailer, they don't have to dispose of all that packaging. So it's a lot easier and cleaner to put the product on the shelf, you know.
Something close to my heart, online retail. Have you seen examples where Irish attractions have, extended their gift shop experience online particularly well?
I would say there's a few examples, but what I was thinking more about on that particular thought was around the nature of the brand again and the product that in my experience, the brands that can do that successfully tend to have something on offer that's very nostalgic or collectible or memorabilia. And I think there's some examples in the UK potentially that's where they can be successful online because they have a brand or a product that people are collecting.
So one of my clients is Jane Austen House, only about 2 miles away from where I live. And it blew me away, the importance of their online shop to them. They're tiny. I mean, it is a little cottage in the middle of Hampshire, but they have an international audience for their gift shop. And it's because they've got this really, really committed audience of Jane Austen fans who want to buy something from the house. Then everybody talks about the Tank Museum in Dorset. Who make a fortune selling fluffy tank slippers and all you could possibly imagine memorabilia related to tanks, because again it's that collection of highly curated products and this really, really committed audience of people worldwide.
The Tank were here last year presenting at the AVEA Conference, and it was such an incredible story about their success and how they went from a very small museum with a lot of support from government to COVID to having an incredible retail store which is now driving their commercial success.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick has done a load of work. That leads me nicely onto a note. Listeners, for a long time, Skip the Queue have been totally focused on the podcast, but today we have launched our first playbook, which is hopefully the first of many. But the playbook that we're launching today is all about how attractions can focus on best practice for gift shop e-commerce. So we work with partners, Rubber Cheese, Navigate and Stephen Spencer Associates. So Stephen and his team has helped us to contributed to some sections of the guide around how do you curate your product, how do you identify who the audience is, how do you create that collection. The team at Rubber Cheese talk about the mechanics of how do you put it online, and then our friends at Navigate help you to figure out what the best way is to get bums on seats. So it was a crackpot idea of mine 6 months ago to put it together, and it is now huge. It's packed full of advice, and that's gone live today. So you can go over to skipthequeue.fm and click on the playbooks link there to go and download that. Thank you. So Jennifer, Michael, it has been absolutely wonderful to talk to both of you. Thank you to my audience. You've also been fabulous. Well done. And what a packed episode that was. I get the feeling you two quite enjoy gift shops and retailing. You can talk quite a lot about it.
I mean, I love it.
That didn't come over at all.
But I just think it's such a lovely way of connecting with people and keeping a connection, particularly from a brand point of view. It should be the icing on the cake, you know?
You're not just a market stall salesperson,
no,
are you?
No. And I thoroughly believe that the most successful ones are because the experiences that they're a part of sow the seeds. They plant the love, the emotion, the energy. Like, all you're really doing is making sure that magic stays with people when they go away. But the brand experience is the piece that's actually got them there in the first place.
Now let's go over to the conference floor to hear from some Irish operators and suppliers.
I'm Charles Coyle, I'm the Managing Director of Emerald Park. We're Ireland's only theme park and zoo. We opened in November 2010, which shows you how naive and foolish we were that we opened a visitor attraction in the middle of winter. Fortunately, we survived it. But
you wouldn't open a visitor attraction in the middle of summer, so give yourself a little bit of a run up to it. It's not a bad idea.
Well, that's true, actually. Yeah, you know what? I'll say that from now on, that we had the genius to open in the winter. But we're open 15 years now, and we have grown from very small, humble aspirations of maybe getting 150,000 people a year to we welcomed 810,000 last year, and we'll probably be in and around the same this year as well.
Wowzers, that is really impressive. So we are here on the floor. We've already heard some really interesting talks. Been talking about AI in the most recent one. What can we expect to happen for you in the season coming in?
Well, we are hopefully going to be integrating a lot of AI. There's possibly putting in a new booking system and things like that. That a lot of that will have AI, dynamic pricing, which has got a bad rap recently, but it has been done for years and years in hotels and flights. So,
human nature.
Yeah.
If you ask people, should I be punished for travelling during the summer holidays and visiting in a park? No, that sounds terrible. Should I be rewarded for visiting during a quiet period? Oh yes, I should definitely.
Yeah.
It's all about perspective, isn't it?
Very much
and
so.
it is how much you don't want to price gouge people. You've got to be really careful, but I do think dynamic pricing has its place.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a perfect example of it is right now our top price is not going to go any higher, but it'll just be our lower price will be there more constant, and we'll be encouraging people to come in on the Tuesdays, Wednesdays, as you said, rewarding people for coming in at times in which we're not that busy, and they're probably going to have a better day as a result.
Hi, Suzanne Reid here. I'm the CEO at Christchurch Cathedral, Dublin.
What are you here to get out of the conference?
First and foremost, the conference is a great opportunity every year to catch up with people that you may only see once a year from all corners of the country. And it's also an opportunity to find out what's new and trending within tourism. So we've just come from a really energising session on AI, and also a very thought-provoking session on crisis management and the dangers of solar panels.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the story of We the Curious is it's definitely an interesting one. So we've just come off the back of the summer season. So how was that for you?
Summer season started slower than we would have liked this year in 2025, but the two big American football matches were very strong for us in Dublin. Dublin had a reasonable season, I would say, and we're very pleased so far on the 13th of the month at how October is playing out. So hoping for a very very strong finish to the year. So coming up to Christmas at Christchurch, we'll have a number of cathedral events. So typically our carol concerts, they tend to sell out throughout the season. Then we have our normal pattern of services and things as well.
I think it's really important, isn't it, to think, you have to think back to this being a place of worship. Yes, it is a visitor attraction. Yes, that's an aside, isn't it? And the reason it is a place of worship.
I think that's obviously back to what our earlier speaker was talking about today. That's our charitable purpose, is the promotion of religion, Christianity. However, Christchurch is one of the most visited attractions in the city, and primarily people do come because it will be there 1,000 years in 2028. So there's, the stones speak really, and one of the sessions I've really benefited from this morning was around accessible tourism, and certainly that's a journey we're on at the Cathedral, because a medieval building, never designed for access really.
No, not hugely.
Not at all.
No.
So that's part of our programming and our thinking and our commitment to the city and those that come to it from our local communities, but also from further afield, that they can come and enjoy the splendour of the sacred space.
I've been thinking long and hard and been interviewing people, especially people like We the Curious, where they're coming into their 25th anniversary. They were Millennium Project. I hadn't even thought about interviewing an attraction that was 1,000 years old, a genuine Millennium Project.
Yeah, so we're working towards that, Paul, and obviously there's a committee in-house thinking of how we might celebrate that. One of the things that I know others may have seen elsewhere, but we've commissioned a Lego builder to build a Lego model of the cathedral. There'll obviously be some beautiful music commissioned to surround the celebration of 1,000 years of Christchurch at the heart of the city. There'll be a conference. We're also commissioning a new audio tour called the ACE Tour, Adults, Children and Everyone, which will read the cathedral for people who have no sense of what they're looking at when they maybe see a baptismal font, for example. So, we're really excited about this, and we're hoping the city will be celebratory mode with us in 2028.
Well, maybe you can bring me back and I'll come and do an episode and focus on your 1,000-year anniversary.
You'd be so welcome.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Suzanne. I am back on the floor. We have wrapped up day one, and I am here with Reid Dempsey from Jameson Distillery. Ray, what's it been like today?
Paul, it's been a great day. I have to say, I always love the AVEA Conference. It brings in such great insights into our industry and into our sector. And it's hosted here in Waterford, a city that I'm a native of. And, seeing it through the eyes of a tourist is just amazing, actually, because normally I fly through here and I don't have the chance to kind of stop and think. But like the overall development of Waterford and the presentation from the Waterford County Council was really, really good. It's fantastic. They have a plan that really is driving tourism, Waterford as a tourist destination, whereas before you passed through Waterford.
Right.
It was the Waterford Crystal stop and that was it. But they have put so much into the restoration of buildings, the introduction of lovely artisan products, very complimentary, to people coming to here, whether it is for a day, a weekend or a week. Fantastic.
And what is it? We're in the middle of October, and it's a bit grey and drizzly out there. But let's be fair, the town has been packed.
It makes a whole lot of a difference.
The town has been packed with coaches outside. Yeah. So my hotel this morning, full of tourists.
Amazing.
It's
a great
really
hub. A great hub, and they've done so much with the city to enable that. And you see, as you pass down the quays, that new bridge there to enable extra traffic coming straight into the heart of the city. It's fantastic. We're all learning from it, and hopefully bring it all back to our own hometowns.
I think it's been really interesting. We were talking earlier on before I got the microphone out, saying how it's been a real mixed bag this year across the island of Ireland, hasn't it? So some people really, really busy, some people rubbish year.
Yeah, I mean, I feel privileged the fact that, we haven't seen that in Dublin. It's been a very strong year. A little bit off to a little bit of a bumpy start in January, February. But for the rest of the year onwards, it's been fantastic. It's been back-to-back festivals, lots of things, lots of reasons why people come to Dublin. And then, of course, with the introduction of the NFL, that's new to us this year. And hopefully we'll see it for a number of years to come. But they're great builders for organic growth for our visitor numbers. So I'm happy to say that I'm seeing a growth in both revenue and in visitor numbers in the Jameson Distillery. So I'm happy to see that. Now, naturally, I'm going to have to work harder to make sure it happens next year and the year after. But I'm happy to say that the tourism product in Dublin has definitely improved.
Yeah.
And Dublin-based visitor attractions are doing well.
Exciting plans for summer 26?
Yes, every year is exciting, Paul, and every year brings a challenge and everything else. But I'm delighted to say that our focus for 2026 really is on building inclusion. So we're looking at language tours, we're looking at tours for, marginals in society, and I think it's a really interesting way for us to be able to embrace accessibility to our story. And also we have increased our experience repertoire to engage more high-end experiences, not private experiences.
Oh, really?
There's more demand for those.
Okay.
So we're delighted to say that we have the product in order to be able to do that. So
Excellent.
That's exciting for us, to be building into 2026.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. I am the only thing standing in the way of you and a drink at the cocktail reception later on, so I think we should call it
It will
quits.
definitely be a Jameson for sure.
If you enjoyed today's episode, then please like and comment in your podcast app. It really does help others to find us. Today's episode was written by me, Paul Marden, with help from Emily Burrows from Plaster. It was edited by Steve Folland and produced by Wenlyn Dionaldo. See you next week.